The hidden price of invisible queues. Across long time horizons, the most expensive delays are the ones nobody can see. The meeting invite lands, the dashboard turns green, the notification says done, and still the work is stuck. Only now the queue is invisible. When systems remove visible queues and explanations, they do not remove coordination costs. They relocate them into hidden time, hidden risk, and hidden authority. At small scale, that looks like convenience. Fewer lines, fewer comments, fewer waiting for approval banners. At scale, it becomes a governance problem, because leaders and operators lose the ability to distinguish fast from silently deferred, and aligned from merely unchallenged. The claim is mechanical. As throughput increases, legibility becomes a constraint, and invisible queues accumulate until they surface as missed deadlines, rework, or brittle trust. Coordination is always a budget. A queue is one way a system tells the truth about that budget. Who is waiting? What is scarce? What is blocking progress? Explanations, notes, reasons, decision records are another way. They show why the queue exists and what trade was made. In the short term, removing visible queues feels efficient because it reduces friction in the moment. A single button replaces a checklist. A status update replaces a handoff conversation. A notification replaces a review. The incentive is straightforward. Individuals and teams are rewarded for apparent speed and clean surfaces. Fewer escalations, fewer open threads, fewer blocked labels. A key constraint, however, does not move. Attention is finite. If the system hides waiting and reasoning, it does not spare attention. It reallocates attention into hunting, guessing, and resynchronizing later. That creates a feedback loop. When the visible queue disappears, people experience fewer immediate interruptions and conclude the process is healthier. Because it appears healthier, the organization pushes more volume through it. More volume increases contention for shared resources, approvers, reviewers, compute, budget, calendar time. Contention produces delay, but the delay is now off-screen, so the metrics look stable until they suddenly do not. The system has converted gradual pressure into sudden failure. Over the mid-horizon, the trade-off becomes clearer. You can minimize visible waiting, or you can preserve shared understanding of where and why work is waiting, but you cannot maximize both under load. Hidden queues turn waiting into work. People fill the gap with meetings to discover state, dashboards to infer reality, and notifications to compensate for missing context. Coordination costs that were once paid explicitly, standing in line, seeing who is ahead, hearing why, are paid implicitly as repeated check-ins, duplicated effort, and defensive documentation. Second-order effects follow. When explanations are removed, discretion migrates. The system quietly rewards whoever can interpret the hidden queue. The person with private access, the person who knows how it really works, the person who can bypass. Over time, that concentrates informal power and makes outcomes less predictable to everyone else. The organization becomes dependent on translators. This is not always malicious. It is often the natural result of opaque constraints. Across longer horizons, hidden queues degrade resilience. A visible queue teaches load and capacity. An invisible queue teaches denial. Without legible waiting and legible reasons, planning becomes an exercise in storytelling. Confidence rises because the surface is smooth, not because the system is robust. Tail risks grow in the gaps, rare but severe failures when a critical dependency was quietly saturated, or when a decision was made without a recorded rationale that others could revisit. And uncertainty must be named here. Some invisibility is beneficial. Too much transparency can create noise, gaming, or paralysis. The problem is not secrecy as such. It is unmanaged opacity that removes feedback until correction is costly. Legibility is not a luxury feature. It is part of governance. When a system hides cues, it hides who is bearing the weight. When it hides explanations, it hides who is bearing the consequence. That shift changes behavior, even if nobody intends it. People learn to optimize for what can be seen. Green indicators, quick closes, clean inboxes. Attention follows those signals, and identity forms around them. The fast team, the quiet team, the team that never blocks. Meanwhile, the real constraint, shared capacity and shared understanding, erodes. This is why coordination is a values question, without becoming a moral performance. A community that cannot see its cues cannot negotiate them. A group that cannot retrieve its reasons cannot learn from them. Governance in this sense is not only oversight. It is the ongoing practice of keeping key costs discussable, weighting, trade-offs, and the distribution of burden. When those costs are invisible, responsibility becomes vague, and vague responsibility is where systems quietly drift. Hold a single active reflection at a chosen time horizon, this week, this quarter, or this year. Name one cue your system no longer shows, not the dramatic bottleneck, but the ordinary one. Approvals that happen somewhere. Reviews that happen eventually, exceptions handled off to the side. Then name the hidden assumption that makes it feel safe, that someone is watching, that capacity will appear, that silence means agreement. Let that be the lens. What important cost has become undisclosed, and what tail risk grows when undisclosed costs accumulate. When cues and explanations vanish, coordination does not become free, it becomes unaccountable. The future is shaped by constraints, not wishes, and humility begins where the system admits what it cannot yet see.